Should the Phoenix Suns take a big swing this offseason and go for New Orleans Pelicans big man Zion Williamson? Let's talk about his potential fit in Phoenix and what it would take to get him here, and would you all do it? So when I say the name Zion Williamson in big 2026, what comes to your guys' minds?
Elite rim pressure, one of the best generational rim pressure guys we've ever seen, whether it be drives or post-ups or cuts. Anytime he's around the paint, people usually shift. That means that guys get great shot quality around him. The Suns are a team that emphasized wanting to create closeouts all season long. The premise of all of their offensive principles, create closeouts to play off of. Not just with pick and roll, isolation, everything they want to do, move the ball, create closeouts. You're not going to create better closeouts unless you're going to get a Giannis than if you have someone around that's like Zion.
The big gamble. That's what comes to mind, because with his health issues and how he is, I think he's averaged 46 games a year in his career if you don't count the season that he completely missed. That's a giant risk that you take in terms of if you go after him. Well, his skill set may very well make sense when what you're lacking, although I'd argue the rebounding might not. It's a huge risk with only averaging 46 games per season.
Gamble's a good way to put it. I think about a guy who, when at his best, has been one of the best we've seen. He's lived up to the number one pick billing, but the issues with staying on the court. And I want to be fair to him and acknowledge that he had a very healthy season this past year. Appeared in 62 games. They had a plan for him, and they adhered to that plan. It seemed like he took care of his end of the bargain as well. I think it was 35 or 36 consecutive games that he played at one point this past season, but we've talked about it in the past as well. There is a concerning trend where in his career he has had one season when he's readily available and the following season not so much. So now the big thing with him is, can he string that together? Because when he's at his best, he's everything that Steven said and then some, because we have not seen him with the benefit of building on the prior season.
Yeah, 21 points per game, 5.7 rebounds per game, 3.2 assists per game, shot over 60% from 2-point last season, 1 steal per game, and like you said, 62 games played. He's kind of on the every other year plan, but I think Zion is definitely somebody that if you were just playing 2K and you said, oh, I'd like to sign somebody on the Phoenix Suns to play alongside Devin Booker, let me go sign Zion and turn injuries off.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get into the settings.
Turn
injury slider down. Okay, yeah.
But he does present an archetype that Devin Booker's never played with before. You think about all the great stars, all the great players that Devin Booker's played with, even the good centers he's played with. If you're looking at DeAndre Ayton, none of them were just absolute menaces in the paint. Kevin Durant was not just a menace in the paint. Highly efficient, not in the paint often. Chris Paul was highly efficient, but not in the paint often. You never had somebody next to Book that gives you this type of gravity. The big question with Zion Williamson is, what would it take to get him? Because let's be honest, he's a number 1 overall pick. Usually these guys are not up for trade or up to be moved, which New Orleans might not move him in the first place, unless there's, I don't want to say something wrong with him, but there's reasons why they'd be up for trade. So I would consider this buying low on Zion Williamson. Let me run you guys through a couple of trade scenarios. We'll go one by one and you tell me how you feel about it. I think the one that gets brought up the most with Suns fans is Zion Williamson straight up for Jalen Green, both under contract this upcoming season. Then the year after that, Zion does make a good amount more money, about $6 million more this upcoming season than Jalen Green, but it does work straight up. The Suns would be giving up on Jalen after one season, trading a shooting guard for a power forward, and taking a risk. What do you think about that specific trade?
When I hear it, I think about where they peak, right? And we have not seen the best of Jalen Green, and we don't know if we've seen the best of Zion Williamson yet. We might have already. He's been an all-star a couple times in his career. But when I think about that, and we talked about turning the sliders off injury-wise, and Jalen Green had the first injury-riddled season of his professional career, really of his life, that put a damper on it, but I don't think we should hold that against him. Now, that being said, put that aside. If you see peak Zion next season and peak Jalen Green next season, I do think that Zion brings more to the table. He answers more of those needs. He probably could be an all-star, an all-NBA caliber player. That's not to say Jalen Green can't be that down the line, but when you talk about instant success or instant gratification, Zion Williamson also is going to be 26 next season. It's not like he's that much older than Jalen Green, who's 24 years old. So that comes to mind initially. Now, of course, that is a very idealistic way to think about it. You do have to take into account the injury issues and some of the concerns that are tied to Zion Williamson, and that makes it a riskier thing. But if that wasn't part of the equation, it's really hard to turn that down and say, well, this is a guy who probably is going to be an all-star, all-NBA caliber player if he's in a winning situation.
Okay, if he's healthy, though, does he rebound well enough to fit your needs? He's not going to stretch the floor, so because he can't shoot threes. Well, he shot 25% last year, shot 32% for his career. Last year, only 5.7 rebounds. Like, can he fill the needs that you had from a rebounding perspective, which was a big part of it, and you know, can he fit next to what you are hoping to do at center? Because if you bring Mark back, that doesn't work. Yeah, because those are two guys that are just gonna eat up the same space. That's Oso and him could work, but neither of them are doing the rebounding necessarily that you need. Like, and then Kaman's a big if he can stretch the floor. So how do you feel the fit, if he is healthy, how that works from multiple standpoints?
So to take what the template you speaking to now, I think Zion and Mark is not the most ideal, but we did just see Jordan Knott with Evan Mobley, who doesn't space it in particular either, and Jarrett Allen have the best offense in history on the playoff stage through one full series. So I imagine he can find ways to tweak the way that things maybe existed this season and make it work. I think that's why his offense has been so good, because his offense is not cut and dry. It's adaptable. So you can take a piece out, add a new piece in, and he'll still find ways to extract the most out of the sum of the parts. That's what actual coaching is for me. Not just the system, but how adaptable can it be. But to the point of Zion, not going to address the rebounding, but I think in areas that he doesn't address maybe one of the loudest flaws, he will address the other loudest flaws in the rim pressure and free throws. And I think that's something that if you're looking at trying to find ways to be better for the playoff stage, if you can get to the free throw line more, you are now dictating the terms of the game significantly more than just Devin Booker getting the 8 attempts and everybody else is at 2.5 on average or less. Now you got somebody else that's at 8, if not more than Devin, especially when you look at the playoff stage. What does that do for your game flow and your process? I think fit-wise and context-wise in terms of style of play too, back to the closeouts, man. Those are just as invaluable as it gets. After layups and transition and offensive rebounds, you play off of closeouts, the team that does that most, especially on the playoff stage, is usually who wins. You can do it with Devin and pick and roll. Now what about if you throw it to Zion in the post? What about if Devin Booker is setting a pick for Zion Williamson? What is that doing for your defense? Does Devin got want to switch there? I doubt that. But what's the coverage going to look like, and is that going to keep him from getting downhill, him being Zion? That's a lot to deal with. Again, health matters. The rebounding matters. I think Zion also has questions defensively generally. Average north of a steal this past season, yes. He is active, but he falls asleep at times. He has some issues with containing the basketball one-on-one at times as well, which is concerning for someone who's as athletic as he is or also has the size and strength. But I beg to differ. Some of those things might shift if you get a battery in his back, because there's a standard and accountability that comes with winning and what this team is working towards.
Well, it's a lot easier to do those things when you're around a better roster than you are in New Orleans, too. Like, he's going to have a lot easier of a life offensively playing next to Devin Booker. He might be able to clean up some of the rebounding, some of the defense. Any hesitation to give up on Jalen Green this early in his son's tenure?
Yes.
Of course. You don't know what his ceiling is.
Right? You don't even know what he could do with this group.
No, you don't.
You saw him, essentially, it was 27 games. Technically, it was 26 with Book, if you don't count the 9 minutes that Book played in the one game. It was disjointed, so you have no clue. Like, everybody wanted to say, oh, Devin Booker played significantly worse when Jalen Green was on the court. Book averaged 27 points, 5.7 assists, 3.9 rebounds in the games they played. It wasn't significantly worse. A lot of people wanted to lay all the problems at Jalen Green's feet when he came back, but he only played 12 games with Dylan Brooks, 16 with Mark Williams, 26 with Book, 25 with Jordan Goodwin this year. So a lot of your starting lineup or guys that were in it, he didn't play with. I don't think you know what you have in that. And you made the point on the show the other day that also, you're trading him at
His lowest value.
Like that, and that's not a knock on him. It's the fact that you're coming off an injury-riddled season. Anybody's trade value gets depressed.
That's why you can have a Zion conversation right now.
Exactly, because multiple seasons.
Exactly.
And the thing with Jalen too is like when you saw it working with Book this year, there was a period of time where like they were really good next to each other. Like I think there's a path where that can work. And I'm hesitant to give up on Jalen Green too. And I'm bringing all these trades. I'm not saying I'm making any of these. I'm just saying for those talking about Zion, this is how we get it done. So let's say you don't want to trade Jalen Green. What if I told you there's a way to get Zion Williamson without trading Jalen Green or Dillon Brooks?
Let's talk.
Well, it would take Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, Ryan Dunn, and Oso Iguodaro just to barely make the money work. You're still taking $8.1 million more in salary straight up for Zion Williamson in a 4-for-1 trade. You're giving up your depth. You're giving up your 2 sophomore players, and you're doing it for Zion Williamson. Is that too much for Zion? I don't even think the Pelicans take that, but is that even worth it for the Suns?
The Oso thing's the thing that gives me the most pause. The other 3, yeah, sure. Let's ride. It's Oso. And even that, I would go, you know what? Okay, this will be a bigger swing that I'm taking, but it's not with any of my core. And can I find guys on the margins to replace bench minutes that I have there? You know, Zion's a good passer as a big, so maybe he could fit some of that.
He's great.
That Oso, vibe that you had passing wise. But yeah, New Orleans isn't taking that unless you're including a first, and I don't know if you want to go down that path at all.
And getting another team involved maybe could be a way to potentially have that. And again, it's just so hard because we have seen everything literally from Zion at this point. We've seen him play at an all-NBA level. We've seen him completely unavailable. And the reality of it is he's probably somewhere in the middle. And him being somewhere in the middle does make it hard to justify parting ways with so much depth. Now, if you're thinking about it and the Pelicans somehow say yes to this and you do this, then you are thinking about the fact that you have a core now of Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, Zion Williamson, and Kamal Malawatch, hopefully what he blossoms into, what we hope he can become. And Rasheer Fleming as well. There probably are a lot of guys who would be flocking to come and play here because they think that there is something in place and something special could happen. But again, that is just Zion Williamson at the peak of the powers that we've seen him at.
I mean, from that template, you also keep Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal, right?
No. You're trading Grayson, Royce, Ryan, and Oso.
Okay, so you still have Colin Gillespie. I'm thinking of the shooting.
If you bring him back, you bring back Colin. You're probably bringing back Jordan Goodwin
and Colin. Like, there's still some pieces there for the Suns to do some things with as far as building out their roster. Again, that takes New Orleans probably not getting much of anything in terms of offers from anybody else. That would take like the Suns being able to swoop in and get him like Boston did with Derek White. It was like that guy wasn't even he was available. No one knew to make that call. You got to kind of look your way. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and that's the thing with this is you're definitely not trading any blue chip, prospects or veterans for Zion, which is good. You're not trading any draft picks in this scenario. In this trade, maybe you have to add one. That's good. You are trading 4 players for one that might not play. So that in its own right is a concern. Now, I think if you do this, you have to bring Mark Williams back because I don't think you could just rely on, Kaman and whoever you pick up as a free agent at the center position with Zion. So that'll be interesting, but Zion and Rasheer together is a very interesting pairing. Zion, Dillon, Jalen, and Book is a lot of gravity all at once. There is a way to do it without Jalen, and there is a way to do it without sacrificing 4 total players. This is what I feel like is the most unlikely of options, though. The final trade I'll bring to you today, and is not one that I endorse by any means, is Zion Williamson in exchange for 2 Phoenix Suns players, Grayson Allen and Dillon Brooks.
Hell no.
The money works.
Nope, we good.
But we're good on that, too. Okay, so final thoughts.
We good.
Final thoughts. Is there any world where you take this swing on Zion if it's any of the trades I brought up?
There is a world. Obviously, this is silly for me to say, I guess, in this way, but like if I had confidence in knowing that he'd be available for at least 60 games for the next for the rest of his contract, because what comes to my mind is the Raptors taking a swing for Kawhi Leonard, and they went into it knowing they were going to manage his injury issues because a lot of people didn't think he was going to play again, and obviously his peak was higher than what we've seen from Zion at this point. He was a Defensive Player of the Year, MVP candidate, but if you can go into it with a plan to have him ready for the 16-game season, knowing that he could play at an all-NBA level and take your team to the next tier, that's the only world. But you can't see into the future, and it makes it hard for me to say, go do it.
No, I'll see that plan and raise you. Mark Williams' plan was the same thing, and guess which 16-game season he wasn't prepared for. Maybe that second option, if New Orleans for some reason would do it and it's next year's pick swap, yeah, I would probably
Joe
take
Dumars,
that
Isaiah
kind of
Thomas, you know, I mean,
you get Ryan Dunn and also had a good season. You get two young guys and then two vets that maybe they can flip for somebody else. It's not terrible, but it's not like you traded number one pick for this. Yeah.
No, but I'd take that swing, but anything richer than that, no, I'm out because the risk of injury is just too high to try to mortgage either losing the heart in Dylan or probably your best trade chip in the long run if you really need to make a trade in Jalen Green. No, I think I'd be out.
I don't think I need to talk anybody that watches our podcast or up here into how much I believe in Jalen Green. Mm-hmm. But if you're looking at, okay, Jalen did not have his most healthy season, that's a curse for us in this season. But if we're projecting forward, we can see what we can withstand with the pieces we have in place, those kind of pillars we talked about on our 3 p.m. show recently. If you have those in place and you know that you can withstand injury, but you can reap the benefits of the other things that he brings in a way that's different from Jalen, even at Jalen's best, that might be worth it. And again, if we're talking about ways that they can convincingly say to themselves, no, we are better prepared this upcoming season to do more than we did the season prior. If it's not Giannis, I'm not sure how many other guys check off that box in terms of addressing needs that the Suns have than what Zion will be able to potentially pose for them.
Well, what do you think? Let us know down in the comments below. Should the Suns take the swing on Zion Williamson? Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on your way on. If you're listening on audio, a 5-star review goes a long way. We'll be live Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. breaking down everything off season for the Suns. So if you enjoyed this conversation, then we'll see you again then.